All right, Rangers, today's headlines are pure dynamite, from Talk Sport calling Rangers fans shady to Alan Brazil's cheeky "don't be stupid" dig ahead of the Manchester United clash, and of course the Celtic lot can't stop stirring the pot, typical, eh? Plus the latest on Joe Aribo's return, the £8 million battle for Vaclav Cerny, and drama over Rabbi Matondo's Coventry move. Stay tuned, because this one's guaranteed to get you fired up. Talk about a desperate attempt to deflect, eh? Once again, we've got Talk Sport pandering to the green half of Glasgow. So let's set the record straight. Celtic barely scraped by with a 1-0 victory over Young Boys, a team that wouldn't even be considered Europa League heavyweights. Yet somehow this is framed as a triumphant moment. Spare me. Meanwhile, Rangers are facing Manchester United at Old Trafford tonight in a clash that could see us take a massive step toward the Europa League round of 16. Now, that is European pedigree. As for Shaban Ahern labeling Rangers fans as shady, that's rich. When Celtic's European failures are so glaring, of course, our fans are going to call them out. And let's not pretend Alan Brazil's little dig was anything but stirring the pot to get more clicks. The fact remains, Rangers consistently show more fight and class in Europe than Celtic ever will. While their fans are celebrating scraping together 3 wins in 6 games, we're out here competing with real European giants. The gulf is clear. Now, let's get to the heart of it. Rangers are 13 points off the top of the Premiership right now, but this season has been anything but straightforward. Philippe Clement has breathed new life into this team, and a win over Manchester United tonight could be a turning point, not just in our European campaign, but for the morale of the entire club. Here's my question for you, though. If Rangers deliver a statement win at Old Trafford, does it prove that our European success is the only measure that truly matters? And does it expose Celtic as flat-track bullies in Europe who are miles off the pace Rangers set? Let me know what you think. Well, there you have it. The Joe Aribo dream return looks to be off the table, and to be fair, it's probably for the best. As much as Aribo was a massive player for us, especially during that Europa League run, football is about moving forward, not looking back. Southampton's wage demands and Aribo's reported £70,000 per week are completely out of sync with the direction Rangers need to go. We're not in a position to throw that kind of money around, especially not for a 28-year-old looking at what could be his final big contract. Let's be honest, bringing Aribo back would feel like an easy option, but that's not what Rangers need right now. This squad has to be built for the future, with smart recruitment targeting younger, hungrier players who can grow with the club. That's the strategy to not only close the gap in the Premiership, but also ensure long-term stability in Europe. You've got to give credit to the club for avoiding the trap of sentimental signings. Too many times, clubs have tried to bring back former stars, and it just hasn't worked out, especially when it means wrecking the wage structure. Players like Niels Koppen need to focus on finding undervalued gems in Europe who will give us value for money and drive on the pitch. Now, here's one for you. Would you sacrifice short-term results and proven experience for the sake of a long-term strategy? Or is Rangers' current position in the league reason enough to take a gamble on someone like Aribo? Let me know what you think. The Vaclav Cerny saga is one that leaves you scratching your head, isn't it? Here we have a player who has been nothing short of sensational in Rangers colours this season, with 12 goals and 7 assists, proving his worth time and again. Yet once again, financial constraints threaten to rob us of a player who could be pivotal to Rangers' future success. £8 million might sound steep, but when you consider the potential return on investment, both on the pitch and potentially in resale value, it could be a gamble worth taking. The problem here is glaring. Without a purchase option in his loan deal, we're essentially caught in a bidding war before the windows even open. Wolfsburg seemed to have no interest in keeping him, and while that might have given Rangers some leverage, the looming shadow of Premier League clubs like West Ham makes this a much tougher battle. Let's be honest, the draw of English football's riches has poached far too many top talents, and it could happen again here. The bigger picture, though, is that Rangers cannot afford to lose players like Cerny without having a serious plan in place. If he leaves, who steps up to fill that void? It's not just about the stats. It's the spark, the creativity, the moments of magic that players like Cerny bring to the team. If Rangers are serious about competing both domestically and in Europe, this is the caliber of player we need to lock down. But here's where it gets controversial. Should Rangers push their financial limits to secure a player like Vaclav Cerny, even if it means stretching the budget? Or is this another example of poor planning, where a loan deal without a purchase option leaves us as nothing more than a stepping stone for ambitious players? Let me know what you think, because this one could spark a few heated debates. Alan Brazil backing Rangers? Aye, you'd have more chance of seeing him swap his morning pint for a glass of Iron Brew. But honestly, his dismissive, "don't be stupid" response just adds fuel to the fire, doesn't it? It's typical of a die-hard Celtic man to belittle Rangers' chances, especially when the stakes are this high. You can almost feel the fear behind the smug comments. He knows fine well that a win at Old Trafford would send shockwaves through Scottish and European football. Let's break it down. Rangers have been a completely different beast in Europe under Philippe Clement, beating teams like FCSB Nice and holding our own against Tottenham shows that we can thrive in these big European nights. And while Manchester United might be Premier League giants on paper, their form has been patchy this season. They're vulnerable, and Clement's tactical new could exploit that, especially with players like Vaclav Cerny and Nico Raskin stepping up when it matters most. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, our domestic form. 13 points behind Celtic is far from where we want to be, but Europe has always been where Rangers shine brightest. A famous night at Old Trafford could do more than just boost our Europa League campaign. It could galvanize the squad for the second half of the domestic season. So here's the question for you. If Rangers pull off the impossible and take down Manchester United, will Alan Brazil finally admit that Rangers are flying the flag for Scottish football in Europe? Or will he cling to his Celtic bias and downplay what would be a historic result? And let's hear your thoughts, because this one's sure to split opinion. Rabbi Matondo's potential move to Coventry City is yet another chapter in what looks like a busy January reshuffle at Rangers. The loan-to-buy option being discussed for £2 million might seem reasonable on paper, but with bonus payments and add-ons causing delays, the deal feels far from straightforward. Coventry's interest makes sense. Matondo has the pace and flair to be a threat in the championship, and a fresh start could revitalize his career. Let's be honest, though, Matondo's time at Ibrox hasn't exactly been what we'd hoped for. Injuries have hampered his consistency, and while he's shown flashes of brilliance, he's struggled to cement himself in the starting 11. Philippe Clement's ruthlessness in trimming the squad is refreshing. It shows he's serious about building a team that can deliver both domestically and in Europe. Players who haven't made their mark, like Matondo, Kieran Dowell, and Cyriel Dessers, are clearly surplus to requirements. That said, offloading talent always comes with risk. Matondo is still young, and there's always the chance he could hit his stride elsewhere. If Coventry and Frank Lampard can iron out the details, Matondo might just flourish in the championship, leaving us wondering if we let him go too soon. But Clement's focus on freeing up space and funds for new arrivals is the right move. This squad needs dynamism and consistency, not passengers. So here's the big question for you. Is Rangers making the right call in clearing out players like Matondo, Or are we risking another situation where a player leaves and proves us wrong by thriving elsewhere? Let's hear your thoughts. If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.